Hey guys, we're actually here. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. Welcome to Friday. Welcome to August. Welcome to all good things. How you guys doing? Welcome to the longest running live lifting Q&A in the history of the universe. That is my claim, and I'm sticking with it. And if anybody else doesn't like it, well, then they can go fight Mike Tyson. How you guys doing? It's been a good couple of weeks of training for me. I feel like my camera's a little bit crooked or something. I don't know. Like, we're going to have to figure that out. It's been a good couple of weeks of training for me. Really on track the last couple of weeks. I got the fourth book in my series coming out this weekend. Look for that. And yeah, that's about it. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. I'm here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, just repeating that so you guys can remember to show up next week. Now, if you're tuning in late and your comments or you can't post a question, you can head over to Instagram. You can head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman, at Ben the Barman. Slide into my DM, post a question. I answer every question, so don't hesitate. If you are looking for some community, some accountability, you can head over to teammassiveiron.com. That is my community. We would love to have you. We chat all day long. We have daily check-ins. We do form checks. I try to provide micro-coaching. So, yeah, check out teammassiveiron.com. So, one thing, if your questions don't go through, sometimes it's not me blocking you. It's not me filtering you. YouTube can be very picky with words and filters. So if your question doesn't go through, try shortening it, try rewording it, try taking out all the naughty words you put in, right, you naughty person. Anyway, if that still doesn't work, you can just message me on Instagram. So what's going on, guys? You guys see any interesting topics this week? Have we moved beyond taking a month away from training to improve our gains? The interesting thing about that, I'm making a video about that, is that I had some people come back, maybe the 1%ers, and say, well, that's only for serious lifters. Like, no, it's not like you really think serious lifters are going to amplify their gains by taking a month away from training? That's absolutely nonsense. But it is interesting, the things that we want to believe. It's like the X-Files. I want to believe, right? I want to believe if I'm a serious lifter, and Dr. Mike said if I'm a serious lifter and take a month away from training, that it'll amplify my gains. No, it won't. Over the long run, you're not going to see any benefit at all. I'm not telling you guys not to take some time off when you feel beat up, but let's move on past that nonsense. All right, let's do a little peck dance to get the party started. How you guys doing? Let's dive straight into things. I will say coaching, I have a couple openings right now. If you are interested in coaching, you can head over to you can head over to my website. Where is it? Website, superlivingtoday.com. Check out the coaching tab. After the first month, it's only $89.40 per month. I'm with you every single day. Everything we do is custom. On and on and on. Coaching is what I do for a living. So if you need some accountability, if you're frustrated with your results, please check that out. If you want one of these sexy shirts, the ultimate massive iron shirt, you can head over to my website, check out the apparel tab. So how you guys doing? You have a good week? You watch any of the Olympics, not watch any of the Olympics, get involved with all the drama of a man punching a woman, whatever's going on. Boy, the world is crazy, isn't it? Can we just kind of figure some things out a little bit, right? So let's dive into things. Dumbbells and donuts, missing today's live. No, you're not. You're here in spirit, but with good reason. Inducting my wife into the gym. Good. Glad to hear that. I hope things go well for her. Can't wait until she's mogging me like the late. I hope she gets a really good passion for it, and then we can kind of push her to beat you a little bit. So let's see what happens there. Big Joe B., client of mine, Team Massive, good morning. Team Massive, happy Friday, happy Freitag, happy, what is it in Spanish? I'm trying to remember my Spanish. I can remember numbers, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. I remember German, Montag, Tuestag, Mittwoch. I'm trying to remember my Spanish, Mittwoch. I remember that for some reason. Ernie, what's going on, Ernie? How's it going? And Ernie says, hey, big, hairy, ugly dude, I saw on the YouTube, the box called the YouTube, that if you want to build a strong bench, you should do more back work than chest work. Any truth to that? Well, having a weak bench isn't going to be beneficial for anything. I mean, nobody's not training bench. I don't know. The guys in the gym that are just training bench and then doing maybe the lat pull downs or whatever, that's not exactly optimal, to use an overused phrase. But in the real world, we're not trying to have a weak back. I would hope not, right? I would hope you're not trying to have a weak back. You want to have a weak everything. You want to be strong everything in the upper body. Strength builds strength. Like, we can't create formulas and say, if you have X, Y, Z in back strength, your chest strength is going to be X, Y, or Z. It doesn't work like that, right? But on the other hand, if you want to be weak in your back, what benefit is that going to be, right? We want to be strong. We want to be strong in opposing movement planes, your horizontal press, your horizontal pull. It's only going to be beneficial. Strength builds strength, right? Strength builds strength. If you get up to a 315-pound pendlay row, you're going to have a Herculean bench, not because you have a big pendlay row, but because you're obviously training your pendlay row strong enough. You're probably training your bench strong enough. So train everything, right? We're not going to create formulas. We're not going to worry about micromanaging. Here's the thing. Get everything strong. That's what we're all about. Big Yvonne, how's it going? Happy morning. I said, happy morning, everybody. Happy morning, Friday. Freitag. What is Friday? Feliz Viernes? Viernes? Is that how it says? Yeah, okay. I only had 3 years of Spanish and lived in New Mexico for a year and a half. You think I would have things figured out, but I don't, because I'm a dum-dum. I just forgot. So anyway, what do we got here? Harris, how's it going? Happy weekend. Glad to see you from Team Massive. How is the... Oh, Harris, we're not doing heavy-duty training. You are going to the corner of shame, my friend. You're going to the corner of shame. Over in the corner of shame, we're doing massive intensity training. And I have my log up on Team Massive Iron, so you can check it out. Going well. I'm kind of fudging with it a little bit because I'm going to be honest. I created the massive intensity training as a kind of modernized, my take on heavy duty, removing the things I consider to be flaws, and I modernized it a little bit. How can we train using intensity? And to be honest, I got, there's such a fear, like I'm working too hard, I'm overtraining, I can't handle this, I can't handle that. Look, I've been training 39 years. I get into the gym and I'm only doing 3 rest pause sets of lat pull downs, and I feel like I can do more, so I've been doing more. So I started doing it. I'm starting to evolve things a little bit, and it's going back to what I like to do, which is, I don't know. That's the beautiful thing about training. Whenever you start a program, you don't have to stick to it. Like, you don't have to start massive intensity training or any program for that reason and be like, I have to stick to this because I have to stick to this. Like, why? Evolve things, right? You're in the gym, you're on somebody's program, you feel like you can do a little bit more lat pull downs, do a little bit more lat pull downs. No one's going to die. Big Joe B. What's going on, Big Joe B? JM press versus guillotine press for triceps. They're 2 completely different movement patterns. There's always going to be minor differences between these movement patterns. The JM press is more triceps because your elbows are a little bit more tucked. They're moving naturally. You're not flaring your elbows like a guillotine press, but they're focused on different areas. The guillotine press is more chest stretch focused, so you don't have to have your elbows completely at the level of your shoulders, but you want to have a little bit of elbow lift, and you lower the weight like this until you get a chest stretch, and then you push up. The goal isn't to get the bar to your Adam's apple and do anything injurious or anything like that. But the guillotine press is focused on your chest. The JM press is like this. It's focused on your triceps. So that's a huge major difference. Now, if they bother your shoulder, that's a different story. Anything that bothers your shoulders, you shouldn't use. What is the best? Oh, there is no best. Have you been watching Massive Iron? There is no best. What is the best progression scheme for unilateral dumbbell leg? There is no best. There's no best anything. That's the beautiful thing about Massive Iron. We free you from the word best. We free you from the word optimal. And we give you free rein to do anything that is full of common sense, makes sense, right? We're bringing back common sense. Seriously, what is the best progression scheme for unilateral dumbbell leg exercises? There is none. If you want to change weight and do like dynamic double progression or threes or whatever, you can. If you want to do straight sets, you can. There is no best as long as your rep range is normal-ish and you have a progression scheme in place that isn't dumb, right? Isn't dumb. Dumbbells and donuts as opposed to barbells and beignets. Keen to start exploring ways to bring the Swiss bar into my program. The Swiss bar, I have some clients doing the overhead press. You just have to make sure your seat is angled back enough so you're not bapping it in your big fat chin, right? You can experiment with that. And the bench, what I would recommend is doing it every other week. The neutral grip press is a really good thing. I would probably alternate movement patterns between the regular bench and the Swiss bar. A little bit of extra variety is never a bad thing. Big PD, what's going on? Would you ever prescribe the Smith machine for bench? Yeah, I got some clients using the Smith machine. Some just don't like barbell bench. Some don't like barbell Smith. I don't really care. As long as we have a good, solid grouping of exercises, right? We're not looking at like one exercise, like you must do bench press. We're looking at the overall big picture. And again, we're talking about freedom when it comes to training. Like anybody tells you you must bench press or you should never bench press, smack both of those people out of your life, right? Get them out of your life. Get them off your YouTube. Get them off your influencer feed. They are dum-dums. The big picture is we want a quality selection of exercises. So as long as that's in place, you got the Smith machine for bench, maybe the dumbbell bench or the incline dumbbell bench, maybe dips or barrel press, maybe pec deck or whatever. As long as you have a good quality grouping of exercises, you are good to go. Big Doc from Team Massive. When writing a program for yourself or a client that has some training experience, what factors do you look for when deciding which? I use pretty much the same exercises for everyone. When I do a custom workout or when I screen a client, I will ask any exercises you don't like to do or can't do, any injuries. So we're filtering through things to find out which exercises to remove. Some of this is personal preference. If somebody says, I don't like the bench, and I have this maybe on 10% of clients that during their screenings, I don't force them to bench. I work with whatever tools they want to work with. So it doesn't matter if they're a novice, a beginner, and experienced lifter. I always give them a good exercise selection. And that's highly individual based on what they like, if that makes sense. Now, if somebody came to me and said, I don't like, let's say for bench, I don't like dips, I don't like barbell bench, I don't like dumbbell bench. All I like is cable flies and pec deck. You know what I would tell them? I would be honest, that's not enough. It's not. It's not enough for big pectacles. It's not enough for big chesticles. I would be honest with them, and then it's their decision what to do from there, right? I'm not going to lie to somebody and tell them you can get humongous pectacles, you can get humongous chesticles from just doing cable crossovers. You can't. It's a good last exercise in the mix, but you cannot get big chest from just doing poofy woofy lighter exercises. There has to be some balance. So everything is tailored to the individual as long as it's reasonable. Big Jonathan. How would you approach if you could only do 2 commercial gym days and have 84-pound I got guys like this, right? I got guys like this, and the first thing we do is determine which workouts we can do at the commercial gym, which splits we like, and which workouts we can do at home. So for most people, having 84-pound dumbbells isn't going to be bad, because if you get to the point where you're doing a 100-pound dumbbell bench, then you're doing really good. And you should probably be in the commercial gym for your pressing. On shoulders, you should be fine. Very few people get to 100-pound dumbbell overheads. Shoulders you could do at home or commercial gym. If you get to the point where you're doing 100-pound dumbbell overheads, you probably you don't even need to be in the commercial gym. You could just do 3 sets of 12 with those 84s and you'd be fine. The biggest struggle bus when it comes to training at home is probably leggies. Now, if you don't have any problem doing squats and lunges and Bulgarians, then you can train at home. If you get tired of those exercises, it's probably a good idea to consider doing leggies at a commercial gym, because then you have whatever, leg extensions, leg curls, hack squats, leg presses, whatever equipment you have available. So there's no magic answer to that, Jonathan. The first thing we need to do is determine, do we like legs enough to train them at a commercial gym? I do. I feel like squats, sometimes I like to squat at home in the peace and quiet and the sanctuary of my own squat rack. And then maybe you could go to the commercial gym and finish off the punishment. You could do that as well, but there's no magical answers. At home with a barbell and dumbbells, you can't do dumbbell rows very well, but you can do Meadows rows. So you could do Pendley rows or barbell rows or Yates rows. You could do like a landmine attachment and T-bar rows. You could do single arm Meadows rows. You could do pull-ups if you could do them. You could do inverted rows. You could do chest supported rows. You could do dumbbell focused lat rows or lat focused dumbbell rows. Right. So there's a lot of things you can do with back at home. What do you add when you go to a commercial gym? What do you add as far as back work? You can add a lat pull down, a seated cable row, a machine row, probably a chest supported T-bar row. You can add a lot of interesting stuff at the commercial gym as far as back. So up to you, my friend. Big Joe B, the man with the plan, the tower of power, too sweet to be sour, the man of the hour. How much do genetics play a role in muscle size and strength? Well, we have tiers here, okay? And I'm not being dismissive, but I mean, we have genetics. What are genetics? Okay. You have muscle shape, how a muscle looks. For example, my tricepticons look like juicy, very juicy, right? My triceps look juicy, but my arms are generally only like probably 17 inches when I'm lean. But my arm, because of how juicy my triceps look, they look much bigger. Now, I used to work with Mark Lobliner at Tiger Fitness, a professional bodybuilder. His triceps were really, and I'm not bashing on the guy, his triceps didn't have the same genetic shape as mine. They looked smaller. He could bench the same. He still had big arms. They just looked different. So you have different looks in muscle groups. Like my bicep is a potato. It doesn't peak at all. It looks like a potato. Some people have that peak that makes their bicep look more impressive. So we have different genetics when it comes to appearance. Okay. We have different limb lengths. Like I have a longer torso and longer arms and shorter legs, but none of this stuff is going to limit your muscle size and strength. It just, there's levels, right? You want to get as big and as strong as you can naturally, get to a 4 or 5 squat, get 17-inch arms. You're not going to be limited by genetics. You're going to be limited by your big, juicy testicles, right? I don't want to hear it. Anybody can get there, right? Anybody can get in the shadow of it. Even if you can't get 17-inch arms, you can surely get 16.5-inch arms. So I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about your woes, your bullshit, whatever. Come down here and train with me. I'll kick your ass 7 ways to Sunday, and we'll get shit sorted out real quick. We will. And I'm not trying to talk with bravado, but it's true, man. You go train with somebody and get some shit sorted out. You can do this. to be like gym legend. Can everybody get to gym legend strength? Well, probably not, but you can get in the shadow of it. You know, I'm going to say this politely and turn on your speakers, and I'm sorry for profanity, but fuck genetics. It's such an overused, overplayed concept. There's so many, you're like, you know what's more important to genetics? Like mental strength, like drive, like passion, like focus on form, like how a bicep looks, or if I have short legs or arms, who cares? I've seen tall lifters move incredible amounts of weight on squats, and guys with long arms move incredible amount of weight on bench. None of that crap matters unless you got some birth defect. And I've trained Special Olympians. I'm here to tell you, I've trained Special Olympians, and in the 5 or 6 months I trained them, they're nearly caught the average gym lifter, if not surpassed the average gym lifter. So I mean this in the most respectful way. I do not give a fuck about your woes, your perceived genetics, or any of that stuff. Doesn't mean shit to me, because I've seen people with multiple sclerosis, MS, do single arm pull-ups with the wheelchair on their back and their wife on their back. I've seen Special Olympians get up to nearly a 500-pound deadlift in 6 months. I don't want to hear about anybody's shit. What I want to hear about from somebody is how they're going to do it, how they're going to make it happen safely, right? Because in my world, genetics don't mean shit. When I see somebody sitting here on the worldwide inner tubes, on the worldwide YouTubes, in the comments saying, I've trained for 20 years, I'll never be able to make it, and all this kind of shit, man. Like, you have the mentality, you have a loser mentality. You're going nowhere fast. You need to get your shit straight, and you need to do something that's going to be a game changer. You need to focus, stop jumping programs, nail your damn diet. Get up at 5 a.m., chase chickens around your yard like Rocky Balboa and slam raw eggs, and do something, man. Let's see the fire. Let's see the power. Let's see the passion. Let's see the borderline insanity and love for this stuff, right? Let's not see any genetics talk. What kind of genetics? So your bicep looks like a potato? Who gives a crap? So your arms are a little bit shorter, and that doesn't make me a good deadlifter? Who gives a crap? Right? You can still conquer the moon and destroy the sun. You can still be a mover of worlds and a force of nature. A force of nature is a mental state more than anything. We train hard, but we train smart so we can stay in the game and not get injured. Victim mentality, genetics. I'm a victim of my genetics. I'm a victim. I can't get enough sleep. All this kind of stuff. I don't care about any of that. I want to see you get up in the morning and show me that you want it, right? And you're like, oh, that sounds good for somebody who's just naturally big and strong. You know what? There's pictures of me when I was like 11 years old lying in bed in like 1977, 78. And I am a skinny, fat, moobie son of a bitch. Like, even back in 70, 77, 78, I had man boobs and I was skinny, fat, and I just looked horrible. I was always physically active back then, always physically active. I was running, I was doing step-ups, I was playing baseball. I would go take a tennis racket and whack the ball against the wall. I was always doing something. I had a concrete weight set. I was moving that, doing push-ups, doing everything, and I looked like a sack of crap. And I could have sat there back then at age 7, right? My genetics, I just exercised for 6-7 years straight, and I look like crap. I have man boobs and all that kind of stuff. People don't believe this, but here's your styloid process, that little bumpy wump, right? That little bump on your wrist. If you measure your wrist inside of there towards your hand, and then like I had like 6.25 inch wrists, super small. Now, there was some information that the strongest men in the world tend to have bigger bone size, right? Well, they also probably are bigger, taller, and built more like strong men, right? But on the other hand, if you have a small wrist size, you're probably not built like a strong man, so you probably don't have that overall potential. You're probably a little bit deficient. But I was a skinny twerp. right? When I entered college, I was like 152, 153, 154. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. I wasn't weighing myself every day. I had one of those old school 1972 scales where the thing's bobbing around like crazy. And you're like, is that what? Right? So I was skinny fat back then. And the first time I got on bench, I put on 95 pounds. I'm in the gym at New Mexico Tech, my college. I'm like, it doesn't look like much weight, right? I got pegged on rep 3, and I'm literally sitting there like, I'm never coming back in the gym. I'm never coming back in the gym. I feel so embarrassed. I got buried on my first real bench press set ever, just absolutely buried. It was so embarrassing, just absolutely embarrassing. But I came back. No one was in the gym. And mentally, I just picked up from that day. I'm just going to try and improve by 1. I didn't have like some end goal, like I'm going to get to a 315-pound bench. This was 1986. No one gave a crap about a 315-pound bench. It's not like everybody walked around talking about this stuff, right? They didn't. But I came back. I got 94 by 5, 95 by 4, 94 by 5. Eventually, we're moving up to 100, 110. Eventually, after 18 months or 20, I think 30 months, 2.5 years, it was 275 by 4 or 5 or 6. That's how I did it. Small boned, nailing my nutrition, nailing my sleep. No one came to me like, you have poor genetics. I was skinny, fat, small wristed. I was naturally weak. I love sports, but I sucked. I wasn't a good natural athlete. So that's all I have to say. All right. Big Joe B, what happened or is happening with the Mafia movie you were involved with? That's called The Hostile Witness. We filmed that in October. It was an independent film. I haven't talked to the director, to be honest with you. I just checked out to see if the trailer was up. The trailer was not up. So I don't know. I don't know right now. It's an independent film. And when you're dealing with independent films, a lot of things can happen. I've been in 2 independent films with the same director. And the first one I played the mayor. I just did a talking scene at the last scene of the movie. This one I was a mafia henchman. I don't know. You want to see a picture? I don't know. We won't do a picture and bore you guys. Stein, how you doing? Stein, happy Friday. Big Joe B, how does a seated tricep machine differ from dips? The seated tricep machine, you're not having to deal like a seated tricep machine. I have one right over here and I love it for triceps. You can really focus. You don't have to deal with torso sway. You don't have all that torsional weirdness, right? You don't have to focus on controlling the body. You can be stable, you can be seated, and you can really focus on triceps alone. If you wanted to focus on chest alone, you could probably do so. But it's just not the same. With a dip, you have to focus on being very stable, controlling, worrying about getting down to a reasonable depth, all those sorts of things. So it's a completely different exercise. Big Jonathan. Morning, Steve and Team Massive. In one video, you talk about if it's worth it to reach natural potential. Would you say this becomes a question when you're at 80%? Here's the thing. Let me get a drink here because I'm babbling at high speed today. All right. So I got the purple. And Thomas from Team Massive turned me on the old ultra strawberry cream, strawberry dream. I had one of those, and I don't mind it. So, a couple things going on here. If you work hard, you're going to build up a reasonable degree of strength. Okay, you're going to get to like a 275 bench, pretty decent dead, pretty decent squat, pretty decent dumbbell row, pretty decent overhead. So you're sitting there with your 80-pound dumbbell overheads and your 100-pound dumbbell bench, and you are like the king of the castle. You're doing pretty good, like you're a gym legend in your gym, and you're doing pretty good. So the question is, if you want to go from there up to like gym legend, from gym legend or near gym legend to like just maxing out 500 squats, 17.5-inch lean natural arms. It's going to take a lot of time. Okay. It's going to take a lot of time. I told you in 1989, after 30 months, I got to about 274, 7 by 4 by 5 inch bench, or 275 by 4 or 5 rep bench. That's about 315 after 30 months. It took me till 1999, 10 years later, to get to 365 on bench. 10 years to add 50 pounds. That's the thing. Is that going to be worth it? Because you have to go. You have what it takes, right? But the question is, once I get to gym legend status, and I want to eke out the last 10%, I want to keep pushing. I want to be Alpha Destiny Alex. I want to be GVS. I want to be Bald Omni Man. I want to be the big, hairy, ugly dude. I want to be all those guys. The last 10%. What's happening in the last 10% is you're pushing big, juicy weight for a long period of time, 3, 5, 7, 10 years, right? And that can be punishing, and it can be mentally challenging because progress is tediously slow. You have to be in love with hard training. You have to understand that plus ones are going to be super rare. I got clients like this right now. You know, you're going to get to a point where if you want to go from gym legend to greatest of all time, and watch my video earlier this week about strength standards, it's a long process, my friend, unless you're a freak. And you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth it? You have to ask yourself that. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy, right? I'm trying not to be a downer Dave, but it is going to be a long process, man. You get a 315-pound bench, you want to get up to 365. It can take you 5, 7, 10 years. It can be a grind. You can hit like a +1 every 6 months, and you think like, I'm plateaued. No, you're not. You're not plateaued. You're just damn strong. Like, unless you're one of these guys like Larry Wheels benching 675 and taking just creatine, right? It's going to take a while. Mentally, it can be more torture. Big Carl told my neighbor, yes, today my neighbor said, sorry, I read that wrong. You inspired me to work out, and I'm going for it. That's wonderful. One thing I tell people is that people are watching you, right? People are watching you. What you do. I'm the perfect example of this. I didn't start a YouTube channel to be an influencer, right? Or do any of this crazy stuff. I didn't lose 100 pounds to create a body transformations, for others. I just did what I like to do, and people are watching. People are going to be inspired by me. They're going to be inspired by you. They might not say it, but people are always watching. That's one thing you need to understand. People need role models. People need inspiration. One of the best things you can do just for the people around you, your kids, your friends, your coworkers, is just do your thing, man. Be passionate. Passionate is like a fire. It just it can consume things. You don't know who it's going to consume. You don't know where it's going to burn into. But somebody's going to catch that fire. Somebody's going to catch that fire. I guarantee it. Barbell Beauty from Team Massive. How's it going? Big Eric, Red of Beardness. The big question we're all waiting for. How much time off to get 18-inch lean arms? Here's a formula for you guys. If you start today, and we're going to take time off, we're not going to train because training obviously amplifies gains for serious lifters. Right. Here's the plan. No training. I just want you to do Doritos. I want you to pick 3 to 5 fast food places that are budget friendly, but that you can eat a lot of food on. We're going to get big, and we're going to get 18-inch fat arms. How's that sound, Eric? Big Joe B, what's going on? Shelly, Team Massive, Kleinemann, good morning. It's time for the 5, 10, 10, 20. Get after it. If you guys have not tried the 5, 10, 10, 20 bench press protocol, please give it a try at least for 4 months. You won't regret it. Algernon, have fun, people. I'm going lifting right now. Have fun. Get after it. Harris, we heard your thoughts on 1 month off thing, but where does it rank in your worst influencer propagated BS? I don't know, man. Like, you could literally just make a channel of stupid crap put out by these people. And I hate to generalize. I'm nothing against anybody on a personal level, just the information. We have to deal with the information. We have to deal with the information as it is presented. People that say, don't do this lift, don't do that lift. People that say this program's useless, don't do full body, don't do splits, don't do squats, take a month off of training. People that overcomplicate things or create rules or black and white scenarios, they're fitidiots. They're fitness idiots. The fitidiots. I'm trying to make up something witty, but that's what they are. If you look at the history of lifting, the doors are wide open as long as you use a reasonable approach, have progressive overload, you are consistent, have a good exercise selection, a reasonable amount of volume, and you're eating, bulking properly, you're going to be absolutely fine. Steven, how's it going, Steven? Live starts now. We are 37 minutes and 46 and a half seconds in. I'm going to get a drink and we're going to continue on. If you guys are new here, lurkers, dive in the pool, post up your question. I'm here to help. Having a little bit of fun, getting a little bit sassy, but we'll sort things out and I'll help you the best I can. So, and you could sign up for coaching today. Come take a 3-month tour. We'll get you on track. Paul, good morning. Paul, glad to have you here. Hey, we got somebody from Twitter, Tweeter, X. Actually, I'm running this. My streaming software allows me to run this on X, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and here. I could run it on Instagram, but I don't know. I don't know how to save it. It's just super complicated. Just a pain in the butt. So thanks for tuning in from X. Is calisthenics severely underrated? I got to be careful. It's not underrated. It's a different thing, right? It's like doing kettlebell work. It takes a lot of work to become a master at kettlebell. It takes a lot of work to become a master at calisthenics. It takes a lot of work to become a master at lifting. I wouldn't say it's underrated. There's so many physical pursuits that we do what we need to do. There is a path for conventional muscle and strength building, right? We understand what convention is, and that's why we use dumbbells and barbells and all the machines and all this kind of good stuff. If you want to add calisthenics and you have an aptitude, by all means, but you need to be pretty advanced to get muscle out of it. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying you need to be pretty advanced, and you need to do it for a long period of time. Therein lies the rub, right? Therein lies the problem. A lot of people like look at calisthenics on this box called YouTube, and they're like, wow, so-and-so looks great. I'm going to add this movement in. Like, no, that person, like Ross Enamade, who wrote a classic book, Never Gymless, one of the best books you can add into your library, your fitness library, just going after it for long periods of time. It's a time thing. Will it be as good for overall muscle size as barbells and dumbbells? Never. That doesn't mean it's not a quality complement. That doesn't mean you can't get ripped and have a good body with it. Strength training, it's a different type of strength training. It's body control rather than controlling inanimate objects like dumbbells. Mitchell, have you ever tried Dolph Lundgren's milk? It's milk Dolph Lundgren on porpoise. I don't know what planet we're on right now. I stick to things that I know, like hamburgers and bratwurst, and I might have a beer occasionally. Don't tell anybody. How's it going? Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Merrick, how's it going? It's a client of mine. Glad to see you here. Big Justin Jones. Good morning, Big Hairy Ugly Dude and Team Massive. No questions so far. Been a disappointing week. I'm sorry to hear that. Missed some concerts out in Toronto because of fog and canceled flights for delays. Sorry to hear that. We actually have a little bit of foggy woggy today, so not the best day for us. Juan, how's it going, Juan? Thanks for the years of info. Thank you, sir. Would you be able to give advice for an obese man? Absolutely. Excuse me. Trying to build muscle and lose fat. Your priority is losing fat. Okay, you got to be in the gym. You got to be lifting weights. Okay? I'm doing compound movements. I'm a beginner. There's no maintained calories. You can't build muscle, and you can't build a lot of muscle while you're losing fat if you're obese. Okay, you're going to go in, you're going to get some neurological adaptation. You're going to build a little bit of muscle because you're a beginner, but you can't maintain because you're not going to lose fat. Maintain means maintain the same body weight. Okay, so we need to get you down under probably 2,400 calories. I don't see men really, not most men. There are some unique cases, but most men need to get under 2,400 calories to lose weight consistently. We need to get your protein intake close to 35% of your daily calories. We need to get your fat intake maybe down a little bit so you can have more food volume. And you probably need to consider starting around 2,200, 2,300 calories. You're going to require life changes, lifestyle changes. One, I say this because I care. If you are not willing to accept the fact that you need to do some lifestyle changes, that you can't eat this, you can't have beer 7 days a week, or whatever you're doing, you'll never lose weight. The only way to do this is to say the old me ate like a child. The old me didn't plan his meals. The old me didn't focus on taking care of himself with food. Even if you gain weight slowly and you weren't a piggy wiggy like I was, you're going to have to tell yourself, I need to do something different. I can't continue to be who I was and expect change. I need to wake up. Today is the beginning of my movie, the scene where the hero is down, kicked in the balls, down and out, doesn't have a penny to his name. All hope is lost. And this is your opening scene. The hero that you see at the end of the movie is never the same person that they were at the start. You have what's called a hero's journey. This is just classic. This is classic information. This is something that you see in every book, in every movie, the hero's journey. You're on your own hero's journey. Okay? You're right here. You're down and out. You're not where you want to be, and you see Rocky Balboa at the end. You got to become a completely different person. That's the only way to do it. You need to go over the mirror right now and say, self, this is the person in front of me is dead. People aren't going to like it. My girlfriend's not going to like it. People at work are going to laugh at me because I'm bringing in my Tupperware meals. People on the internet are going to laugh because they think it's just a fad, but I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to become a different person today. I'm going to kill the old person. I'm going to rise from the ashes and become a new person. You need to do that. You need to cut your calories, and I do not care if you feel a little bit hungry. You'll get over it. You're not going to die. You need to go in the mirror and say, I'm not going to die. You need to start taking care of yourself with food. You don't have to never eat cheesecake, never have a beer again, but you need to tighten your shot group until you get your weight down to a level where you want it. From there, then we start doing 10-pound bulk and cut cycles. So if you need any more information, Juan, let me know. Matthew, Felice Viernes. Jordan, struggling with chest development, even though all other muscle groups. Well, the chest can be, I'd like to see pictures, right? Because pictures don't lie. A lot of times we can have genetically flatter looking chests, unless we kind of do this, right? So we can have expectations that our chest is going to look like Arnold's, which is generally not how it's going to look. If you want a big chest, you need to get your presses in your upper body really strong. You need to get your bench over 275. You need to get your dumbbell bench in 100s. It's not that these numbers are magic, but they're going to be indicators that you're training hard and getting strong enough. You got to get those numbers up. So if you need more help, just let me know. Paul, how's it going, Paul? If T, I think we're doing some programming. If T, then X, right? Just humor. Merrick, is it okay? Oh, yeah. I never track rest periods. There's no need to track rest periods. Here's the thing. Our goal on each set is what? To maximize that set. Okay? We are in the gym to facilitate hard training. That's our focus. Hard training. We rest until we feel physically and mentally ready to attack the next set. If you want to track rest periods, you can. But the goal is to maximize the next set. I don't care what my rest periods are. When I feel physically and mentally ready to go again, I go. Right? That's all you need to know. We are in the gym to train hard. Hard training, hard training, hard training. I don't want you attacking the next set if you're winded, you're not mentally ready, you're not physically ready, if that makes sense. If a natural lifter is deep into a cut and eats carbs and fat way over their current protocol, no, it won't cause a major setback. One day isn't going to be, let's say you're cutting at 2,200, for example, and you go full on fatty cakes and have like 4,200. It's not like you're just going to gain a ton of fat, right? You're going to gain some water weight because you have extra carbs, extra sodium, extra waste. But like 3, 4, 5 days later, that water is going to be gone. You're going to be back to normal. The only thing that's going to set you off is consistently going off, like once or twice a week. Then you're going to raise your calorie intake so you're at maintenance level. Okay. So can we do a little math here? Or let me see if I can pull up my calculator. Let me see if I can do some math for you guys live on screen. I don't know if I can pull up the calculator. Can I present, share screen? Can we share the calculator? Oh yeah, I think we can. Screen sharing was canceled. Make sure to click on share and not cancel. What? Share screen. Okay. I'm going to remove this. Okay. Let's just look at the calculator for a little bit. Let's say you do 30 days at 2,200 calories. Okay. Obviously, your calorie average is 2,200. 30 days at 2,200. Okay. So let's say you have one day, day 31, where you're a fatty cakes and you have 4,000. Okay. Now you're up to 70,000 for the month. You divide that by 31. And yeah, there's a little bit of dent, a little bit of ding, but your calorie average is still pretty low. Okay. It's still within shouting distance. And let's say you have 7,000. Let's clear this. You have 70,000 after 31 days. And you have a good next week. Okay. Whoops, what do we do? Okay. You have 84,400. And you had a good week. Now we're after 38 days. So you have a good week after that one. You're back down to almost 2,000 again. So you mitigated the damage. You had one bad day in like 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks. Okay. So let's say you're Mr. Fatty Cakes and you have 5 good days. Okay. And then you have 2 fatty cake days where you have like 3,500 and 3,250. So you do really good during the week, and then you're a fatty cakes on the weekend. You divide that by 7, and all of a sudden your calorie intake is 25, 35. So you're back around maintenance level. This is why the 5 on, 2 off cutting person is in trouble, because there are fatty cakes on the weekend. They're a saint during the week. There are fatty cakes on the weekend. They're just bumping their calories and maintenance. The guy that does a long period of time and where were we? And just has a minor setback, once a month, it's not going to be super damaging. Do you think, oh no, Turkesterone, we haven't talked about this in a while, will improve? No. It's not going to do anything to natural potential. Don't waste your money on this crap. Seriously. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Do not waste a penny on this crap. I've been around the block, my friend, for 39 years, and there's always a BS. Nothing's going to bump your natural potential. Nothing. Training hard will get you to where you want to go over time. You do not need to invest money in any of this. Don't waste your money. It's not going to increase your natural potential. If you're training hard to begin with right now, you won't need it because you're already on that path. It's not going to provide any benefit. It's not going to provide any benefit to somebody that's not training hard. That's a bigger waste of time. You want to take your physique to the next level, train hard, man. Sorry for slamming the desk. Train hard. Get after it. That's the key. None of this crap is going to do it. None of it's worth your time. None of it. Mitchell McDouglas. Have to renew my heavy subscription, but don't want to. We're in alpha stage on the app, so it's going to be a while. So you strong, man. Strong, I don't use a subscription. I just, if in the meantime, just use Strong. I just go repeat my workouts. I don't spend money on any of this stuff. Big Gary Thomas, what's going on? You told us Dr. Mike taught you a lot about lifting. Ever try to reach out and give after? And for those reading, that's not Mike Israetel. My mentor when I was in college was Dr. Mike. Okay, this was a different Dr. Mike. Dr. Mike Gilbertson. I've tried to find him every way I could. YouTube searches, Google searches, Facebook searches, people that he worked with. I can't find him anywhere. I don't know if he's still alive. I can't find him anywhere. I literally can't. There are a few things in life I would love to do before my time is done, but I would love to say thank you for this individual for having an impact on my life. I don't know how to reach him. I don't know anybody that even knows where he's at. Dr. Mike Gilbertson. He was an English professor in New Mexico Tech. I don't know. If anybody's got some special magic powers and can find them, let me know. Which events in the Olympics are you following? I kind of dabble a little bit. I watched a little bit of women's field hockey for 45 minutes last night. Not because I'm excited about field hockey. I was kind of like, let's watch the sport and see if we can understand it a little bit. There's a lot of soccer games to digest. I'm kind of men's basketball. I haven't caught any of that yet. I got to tell you this. I watched the women's 3-on-3, like France and Spain or whatever it was. I don't remember. Like they missed the first 22 shots or something. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I was kind of wondering if all the good players were playing on the regular teams, because I'm like, it didn't look all that good, to be honest with you. I don't mind. I like watching track and field, some of the major stuff, gymnastics. I like watching cycling, the indoor stuff where they go around that little tracky wacky, whatever it is, the Thunderdome or whatever the heck it is. I don't mind tuning in a little bit of wrestling and judo. There's some things that really bore. I try to check out kayaking. Surfing, I watch that for 5 minutes and they're just sitting in the water, bobbing up and down. I have no clue what's going on. So there's sports I think should be in the Olympics. I'll watch Olympic lifting for sure. What's the story about the dinosaur behind me? The story is, let me see if I can pull this up for reference. Let me see if I can pull this up. I might not be able to pull this up. There once was a dinosaur named Frank. And let me see if I can post from you. I'm going to have to go over to the Book of Faces. Sadly, let's see. Let's go to photo. Posted by you. Let's see if I can find Frank. I'm going to get my friend Frank Bill. Let's try dinosaur. If not, we'll just give it up and then I'll explain the story. Photos posted by you. I don't have it. Okay. So in the first 3-4 months, me and my wife were together. We do a little bit. We do a lot of hiking and we generally go for a brewery for a burger and whatever. And we found a little green dinosaur, a little green Brontosaurus. Okay. And we called him Frank. I actually started an Instagram channel on Frank the dinosaur, where I put him in various precarious positions on hikes and take a picture. Why not? It was just tongue-in-cheek joke stuff. So Frank the dinosaur, some of my close friends started to take off a little bit. But anyway, that's kind of my wife got me that as a gift, a bigger size Frank the dinosaur. So if you guys are curious about any of the crap back here, just let me know. Do you think step count is more reasonable way to try to get in movement? How many? Yeah, absolutely. When you're trying, first off, if you're trying to be healthy, if your step count is around 3,000 per day, you might want to check your pulse. And I mean this respectfully. I struggle to get in steps because some days I'll sit here for 12 hours working. So I do struggle. I've been walking at night. I gotta once my books are done, I'll get back to running a little bit more. But you gotta try to get in 5,000 just for general health. 7,000 is kind of the big standard for general health. And weight loss. If you want to lose weight, it's not like steps are going to be magic, but you really need to get your steps up to like 7,000 to 10,000 per day, just to encourage health and encourage that sustainable weight loss. So it'll only help. What would be your straight to hell list? Things you want to disappear for good from the fitness industry. Wow. Let's pull up a chair, shall we? Everybody grab a beer. This is going to be a long one. Light your cigars if you got them. Man, I could go on and on. I don't even know where to begin. People that put out information that confuses. Why squats are a bad idea for hypertrophy. No, they're not. People that put out black and white information. Here's 7 reasons why you should never do a body part split. Like, no. People that do this black or white information or don't understand the history of lifting, they need to go back and sit down and shut up and study for a while. I mean that. You want to look at the history of lifting the last 70 years. All the guys that have made it to the mountaintops. You understand something when you look at them. And this can be a hard pill to swallow, but we're big boys and girls. We can handle the big boy pills, okay? Don't get mad at me. This is history. Go do your own research. Doesn't matter if they're doing body part splits. It doesn't matter if they're doing full bodies. Doesn't matter if they're doing squats. It doesn't matter if they're doing leg presses. Doesn't matter if they're doing a little bit lower volume. Doesn't matter if they're doing a little bit higher volume. None of this stuff matters because there is a bigger picture. And the bigger picture is what I teach, what I taught in my first book, Massive Iron, 10 years ago. and what I am teaching in my new series, Massive Omnibus. You can get Massive Omnibus at my website, Super Living Today. It's going to be 1,000,000 words. I already have 3 books out. I'm working on book number 4 as we speak. I have the 10 pillars of success. Classic things. If you have these things in place, it doesn't matter what program you use. It doesn't matter which exercises you use. If you have the massive iron pillars of success in place, you will be successful. Do you want to see the pillars of success from my first book, Omnibus? Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. Let's see. All right. This is Massive Omnibus. This is book number 1. There's going to be at least 10 books in the series. And these aren't small books. These have 260 to 300 pages plus. Okay. So we're going to skim forward a little bit. These were the original pillars of success in my first book. Consistency, progression, patience, food, and listen to your body and evolve your training based on needs. These are the new pillars of success from the Massive Omnibus book. Consistency. You have to be consistent for a long period of time. No way around that. If you want to be big and juicy and strong and all good things in life, you have to be consistent. If you want a good marriage, you got to be consistent. If you want to be good at your profession, you got to be consistent for a long period of time. This is a cornerstone of success for anything, and it should be obvious. But if you're jumping programs, taking time away from the gym, you broke rule number 1. Number 2, progression. Not an option. You have to continue to try to do a little bit more over time than you did last time. We're not trying to set rules. We're not trying to focus on specific progression schemes. You can use whatever damn progression scheme you want. Anything that's been done in the last 70 years, as long as you have a progression scheme for your particular movement pattern, exercise, each exercise, you're in a good place. We're going to free you here in the massive iron world, okay? Any reasonable progression. You don't have to maximize every set. You can maybe just maximize one set. It does not matter because we are freeing you here in the massive iron world. You can use any reasonable progression approach. From the last 70 years of lifting, we're opening doors. We're not closing doors. Number 3, patience. Got to be patient. Don't try to rush the process by jumping programs, by endlessly switching exercises, by endlessly trying to do more volume to increase. This is a long process. There's no way around it. There's no way around. You have to get in the gym. You have to shovel out your scoop of dirt that day, put it behind you, and move on for the next 5 to 10 days. You have to get in there, do your work, punch the clock, and get out. That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it. People that run in, I'm plateauing. No, you're not. You're impatient. You're expecting to move from a 315 bench to a 365 bench as quickly as you moved from 200 to 315. Wrong. You need to understand the game. You need to love the game, and you need to be patient. Number 4, nutrition. Not just eating healthy. You have to nail your bulking and cutting cycles. You have to be very specific. This is a specific game. There's no maintaining, gaintaining, plantaining, recomping, bebopping, all this kind of nonsense. You can't start out at 168, expect to gain 30 pounds of muscle and magically lose 30 pounds of fat in the process, and end up at 168. It does not work like that. Anybody that's been in this game a long time understands that the best way to put your body in a state of anabolism is a wise, reasonable, clean, or reasonable bulk, not a fat bulk. We don't do fat bulks here in the massive iron world, and I get into all this in my book. 5, evolution, training evolution. You start out today, hey, big, hairy, ugly dude, I look at the advanced programs of all these lifters, all the advanced lifters and their programs. Why do they have this? Why do they have that? They started at point A, and each day in the gym, They learn something new and they evolve their training approach. Okay, you start out with maybe 3 sets of rest pause on lat pull downs, and you realize I could do 4. I have the time, I have the energy, and I have the mental capacity and the mental drive. Then do 4. You start out on pendlay rows, and you're like, I hate 10 rep sets. I'm going to do 8. Then do 8 rep sets. A reasonable swap, reasonable evolution. Hey, I don't like 3 sets of 8 on pendlay rows. I want to do 4 sets of 6. A reasonable swap, evolving your training based on needs. That's part of the long-term journey. Number 6, hard training. You have to go into the gym focused on maximizing your sets. That's your prime directive. I'm going to try to get the most out of every set I can. I'm going to control the eccentric. I'm going to focus on that mechanical tension. I'm going to focus on get every drop of muscle building I can out of that set. What does it mean? That's the art of training, and you're going to have to learn that, my friend. You're going to have to learn that. Number 7, reasonable volume. So-and-so said do minimal volume. So-and-so said do maximum volume. I'm going to tell you something. Here's a breaking news. You live in the real world, okay? You have school demands, you have life demands, you have relationship demands, you have problems sleeping, problems pooping, problems eating, problems this, problems that, work stress, all kinds of stuff. You want to be in the gym more, but you can barely get in the gym now, right? How many days a week can you train per week? 3, 4, 5. Great. Reasonable volume is about 16 to 18 hard sets per training day. So if you're training 4 days a week, it's about 72 sets. 3 days a week, it's about 54 sets. That's your reasonable volume. And you try to, number 8, maximize your exercise selection to fit in with that volume. Number 9, stay healthy. Don't be a dum-dum. Live to fight another day. Play this game to stay in it 10, 15, 20 years. And finally, number 10, passion. You can't fake passion. And if it's not there, you're not going to be successful. It might grow over time, but you got to punch the clock and you need to do the work. But if you are not passionate about just the dance of attacking the iron, you will have nothing. All right, guys, let's move on here. Hope that helped a little bit. Michael, how's it going? Michael from Germany, Berlin. Glad to have you here. Have a good weekend. We got that one. Big Juan Bravo. At what point does one need to start using wrist wraps, knee wraps? There's no urgent need to use wrist wraps or knee wraps. I will say on your heavy pressing, there's overheads and bench. There's no reason not to use wrist wraps. Just to provide a little extra support. Not a bad thing. There are some people that will be like, if you provide that support, then it'll weaken. Like, take care of your body. Do the support. Athletes of all kinds are providing support to their limbs when they're performing their sports. You know, they're being smart. They're protecting your body. You don't need wraps. Wrist wraps are probably a wise decision if you're serious about pressing. Knee wraps can take a lot of time getting on and off. Once your form is down and reasonable, you can start to play with knee wraps. I would get the ones with Velcro so they're easy on, easy off, because you have to take off your knee wraps after every squat set. Big Stephen Bush. I will not be a victim of my genetics. My genetics will be a victim to me. Absolutely. Amen. Tom Platts. Mentality is everything. Kevin, you can't change reality, but you can't assume what reality is going to be either. How would you recommend someone with a bad shoulder who can't overhead press go about shoulder training? Well, I don't know what the issue is with the shoulder, so it's very hard for me to say anything specific. But any injury always comes down to one variable. What can I do? Okay? Try every variation under the sun. Find a good selection of exercises you can do and attack. I don't know the history of your shoulder injury, but find exercises you can do. High pulls, bulldozer laterals, Arnold press. I don't know. Sometimes I have a lot of clients with various injuries, and sometimes just having, one variation, it might click. Like a Swiss bar might work for you where a barbell overhead press didn't. Training shoulders, arms the day after chest and back. That's fine, because you don't want to train your triceps the day before shoulders or chest. You're going to have a little bit of carryover in your front delts, side delts, and triceps a little bit after chest, but it won't be as impactful. How do you train shoulders? You train it the same way you train on any other day. If you can't train shoulders normally, then you shouldn't be doing that split. And I'm not saying you can't, Joe, but I'm saying if you would need to adjust your shoulder day to accommodate your split, you probably shouldn't be doing that split. Does that make sense? At the top of my bench press, I do that extra push to get my shoulders up. Like the lat, no, you're doing something completely unnecessary with no benefit. I would absolutely, I mean, if it's just part of this, but if it's like this at the end, there's no benefit. I would need to know a little bit more. When I returned to the gym after 4 years, my 2 colleagues started calling me He-Man. Sometimes they'll bust your nuts, won't they? But you just got to use that stuff as motivation. Jonathan says that monster goes well with an FC Cincinnati shirt. Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm an FC Miami shirt. I'm a FC Cincinnati fan. I actually have a flag in my gym for FC Cincinnati. So, what is your favorite exercises that you look forward to doing? Everything, man. I just look for. I'm not going to lie. I just look forward to working out in totality. I do. You work all day. You got things going on. You got to cut the grass. You got to do the honey-do list. You got to take the garbage out. You got to do a million things. I don't care if I'm just doing adductor work, twirly whirlies, waiter curls. I don't really care. I just look forward to doing the gym work. That's as honest as I can get. What would you say to someone like my dad, who was a big lifter, but is getting back to the gym after many years? Once you've had strength, it's easy to get back. You just need to be patient. Now, if it's been many, many years, you might be a little bit broke dick, as we used to say in the military. You might not be able to do completely what you used to do, but if you have had the mental strength to build strength to begin with, then when you return to the gym, that mental strength is still there, right? So you can go a long way very, very quickly. Michael, in Germany, the former pro Marcus Rühl got so much hate for his 5-day training split that it turned out splits do work for natties. I know it's we went through a phase where this cult of frequency training, people like to get on board with things, and the best thing you guys can do is focus on the long run. That's the best thing you guys can do. Ernie, thank you for your wisdom. Train hard, eat safe, train safe, eat well, have fun, train, say your prayers, and eat your vitamins. Hulk Hogan. Absolutely. Thank you, Ernie. I appreciate it. Is knee cave okay when squatting? As you're going down, you want, here are the angle of your feetsies, okay? You want your knees, your kneecaps to end up over your feet. If your knees are caving in when you're coming up, pushing up, that's okay. Generally, okay. If your knees are caving in as you go down, that's the enemy. That's the worst thing you can do. Is a good morning during a squat okay when heavy? Generally, no. That means something's breaking down. Your lower back got loose. Likely, a lot of times what happens is people will knee cave coming down, and what this will do is it'll force if they look from the side, the bar is actually, when it's coming down, when their knees are caving in, it'll move forward. And that's what's causing the good morning. Generally, no. Not generally, it's no. you need somebody to fix your squat, and that's what I'm here for. So come join teammassiveiron.com or come sign up for coaching. I'd love to help. I will tell you what, if you sign up with coaching, ask any of my clients, I will go through your videos over and over and over again every week, and we will beat the drum. Some of them are really tired of hearing of me talk about certain things on their squats or deadlifts, but I'm here to turn everybody into a 8th degree black belt or whatever it is. When they're done with me, I want them to remember this for life. I'm lifting 6 days a week with 18 sets of back, 9 for chest, a little bit light, 15 for delts, and 12 for bis and tris. Okay. No, it's not too much volume if you're recovering. Chest a little bit light, I'd balance it out a little bit. I don't see any quads in the mix, but overall, no. As long as you're recovering, just be smart. Don't stick to things for the sake of sticking to things. If you need to evolve things, go right ahead. Can you do double progression for every movement? You can do whatever you want as long as you enjoy it and it makes sense. That's the whole point I'm talking about in the massive iron world. There's no magic progression approach. Over the long run, there's going to be different seasons. Some season you want to do double progression. Some you want to do straight sets. Some you want to do maximize every set. Doesn't matter. In the long run, be safe, be smart, but have a progression approach. Can I maintain? Absolutely. The belief that you're going to lose muscle while cutting is such nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's stupid paranoia. People don't lose muscle while cutting. They lose a little bit of glycogen. They feel flat. Maybe you lose like 1 molecule. There's this belief that you're going to lose massive amounts of muscle while you're cutting. It's absolute nonsense. Even if you lose a gram, muscle memory is real and you'll get it back when you're done. This is one of the biggest myths. You see guys getting peeled for natural bodybuilding shows, and all they really do is lose a little bit of glycogen. Maybe if you get extremely peeled, you might lose a pound or 2, maybe. But then you'll get it back when the cut's over. You guys just do your best to move on past that because it's such a huge myth and a load of nonsense. It's very easy to maintain muscle. Bottom half or 1.5 reps on overhead press, a solid variation to keep it more. The overhead press is side delt focused as it is. Okay. That's the bottom line. You're going to get plenty of side delt action with all overhead press variations. So the belief that you need to change it up to get more side delt is misguided. You don't need to change it up. Stick with the basics. With that said, if you want to work in a variation because you are a little bit paranoid, go ahead. There's no downside, but your side delts are going to grow. I have some of the biggest side delts you'll see and all overhead. Same with Alpha Destiny. Big Juan Bravo. I appreciate your advice. I started lifting in February about a month or so ago. I was around 3,300 calories. If you want to lose weight, man, try to get that to 2,400 tops. That's my best advice. Let me know if you need any help. Would you say the gym legend status from your video this week is being around 90% of max gains? If you do so controlled, focused, and nailing your nutrition, you're going to, I'm not going to toss out a number, but you're going to be pretty darn big. Absolutely. I don't want to diet, but I want to change my lifestyle. Well, I'm going to tell you, calories in matters. You can change the foods you eat, and I applaud you for eating better. But if you don't want to drop your calories, you're not going to lose that fat. That's the way it is, man. So far, I haven't seen any difference on the scale. But I'm glad you're getting stronger. But if your weight is up, you're going to die young. You're going to have a heart attack. You're going to drop dead early. Men above 200, I don't know how much you weigh. Men above 240 pounds enter what's called the heart attack zone. If you look at pure longevity statistics, the heart has to sustain your mass. If you're not losing fat and you're overweight, you got fat all around your heart and your organs. Visceral, internal fat, the worst kind of fat. I'm telling you this because I care. You need to get in a calorie deficit for a while. because you got all kinds of fat crawling around your organs. And if your weight is above 240 pounds, you're looking at losing at least 7 years off your life on average. Not crap I'm making up. I don't care how you live, man. Live the way you want. I'm just shooting you straight. Looking good, great. But a car can look good, but the engine can be screwed, right? You need to get the engine healthy. You need to get that fat off. You need to get that visceral internal fat off. James, how's it going, James? Glad to have you here. Do you need creatine? No, you don't need anything. You don't need creatine, no. Is it wise? Creatine, they're coming to find out, has a lot of cognitive benefits. It's a good thing to take. Is it going to turn you into Superman? No. Is it probably the best supplement you could take just for overall a little bit of a 1% nudgy wudgy? Absolutely. The purpose of life is to give life purpose. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. You wake up every day and you do what you want to do. Like, you don't wake up today and say, I'm a lifter, therefore I can't go cycling. I woke up at age 50 and said, I'm a lifter. I'm going to try ultra running. And people are like, why are you doing ultra running? Because I want to. Right? That should be good enough for anybody to respect. That doesn't mean I don't love lifting, right? If I love the purple bag of Doritos, which I kind of do a little bit, right? But I want to try the Flamas or whatever. That doesn't mean I don't still like the purple bag of Doritos, right? The purpose of life is to give life purpose. The meaning of life is to give life meaning. That's my opinion. Oversimplification. But get up every day and do what you want to do and be what you want to be, and don't waste days. Be kind along your journey. Be patient along your journey. Stop and listen and actually care. Do the right thing. Be a superhero. If you want to change the world, you can't generally do it in a big way, but you can be a better person. Be a servant, right? Don't be a dick, but if somebody's a dick to you, straighten their shit out. That's about it, man. What do you think of the half rep keep attention style we see in pro? You don't see it in pro. You're just seeing it in a couple people. Okay. I've been doing this my whole life. I've been around pro bodybuilders. I film pro bodybuilders, natural, everybody. There's not many people doing that. The whole keep the tension thing. If you don't need half rep, no, this is all silliness. It's all silliness. You need to focus on controlling the weight and getting good mechanical tension. How can I get to a 4-pound plain squat? That's like asking, how can I date the hottest woman in my city? No progression approach is magic, my friend. None. All the things I just taught you about in my book, Massive Iron, that's the way to get there. Patience, consistency. There's no magic programs. There's no magic exercise selections. There's no magic progression approaches. There's no magic nutrition. There's no magic methods. There are 1,000 different methods, 1,000 different exercise combinations, 1,000 different progression approaches. At the end of the day, it is nailing your nutrition consistently and having big, juicy testicles or big, juicy ovaries or big, juicy Y chromosomes or whatever you got going on. You need to get in there with a plan, and you need to be consistent and understand patience will get you there. It will get you there. You just evolve your training based on these. There's no magic plan, no magic workout, no magic progression approach. That's step one. Let's see, where are we at? Is it okay to work shoulders the day after back? Absolutely. Nothing, no downside to that. Is recovery overrated? Overtraining is almost impossible. You will be way too tired in the gym and destroyed if you're training hard before you ever get near overtraining. Recovery is not overrated. You're going to get overuse injuries. Do you think access to different cool machines enough to justify the cost? Um, it depends on how cray-cray you are. Harut is one of my top tier clients. Really amazing progress. I'm really proud of him. I want to adopt him. Uh, but, as a home gymmer, I've been in positions where I wanted to get a gym membership just so I could go down there and do some blasting with some different machines. So, yeah, you can have A/B split. If you look, what's the worst thing we can like? I don't have cable TV. I don't pay the $75 a month. I'd rather pay it on a second gym membership, right? It's all priorities. At the end of the day, a second gym membership is way cheaper than food, right? So it all depends on your budget. But if it's close enough and you want to do like an A/B workout, and they got some cool stuff to play with, yeah, man. I mean, at least for a season, just don't get locked into a big contract. Do you believe Steve Reeves was natural? Yes, I do. I also believe that some of these guys might, I know this is controversial and this is a heated discussion, but I believe some of these guys may have dabbled a little bit. Some of the pictures I see don't always, make sense. And we have to be smart enough, like maybe these guys didn't exactly always know what they were doing, or maybe they did and didn't want to talk about it, or, maybe it was a scandal. It was a different era, right? So I don't know. And I know this isn't Steve Reeves. This is Reg next to Arnold. So a lot of people like to share these pictures. And at first, when you look at it, there's a couple things going on here. And I know this isn't Steve Reeves. This is Reg Park. When you look at them initially, you kind of think like they're the same size. When you look close, you can see a definitive advantage for Arnold. His quads are much bigger. His overall arm size is much bigger. His delts are more fuller. His chest is more fuller. Does that mean Reg Park wasn't on a little bit of something? I've been in this game a long time, and I've never met a natural that looked like Reg Park in this picture. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. So now Steve Reeves, let's see if we can find any images. I don't want to even start searching on Google. So overall, Steve looked natural to me. If you had to choose between doing a workout with Seth Faraci or Mike, I've been with Mike Rashid, my friend. When I was at Muscle and Strength, I put together a 100-pound dumbbell workout with Rashid and Lobliner. Rashid's I've hung around with him at the Arnold. He's been in my office. I have stories about Mike Rashid I can't share in public because I'd probably get sued. Things about his personality. So I don't know. I've been around Seth. I've been around these guys at my previous job. They've been in the same gym training. They both train hard. I wouldn't mind training with either one. I think I really don't know Seth's training style. I know Mike can handle a lot of brutality, so hard to say. Nolan, a client of mine, happy Friday, Railcar Day and Lig Day, my favorite. Get after it, man. Get after it. No, it's not pointless. We don't make rules, okay? We avoid rules. Pointless, you got to look at the massive iron pillars of success. Pointless optimization, you're getting into the nonsense world that the influencers are trying to pull you into. As long as you're recovering, as long as you enjoy it, I'd train 6 days a week if I can. As long as I'm recovering. If you can do a little bit more and you can recover, you're absolutely fine. Dude, I'm being disrespectful. You're getting way into the deep end here of trying to optimize things, and you're in the wrong end of the pool. You're in the wrong end of the pool. You're trying to piece together little pieces and parts. Should I train 3, 4, 5 days, 3, 4 sets? None of that stuff matters. I want you to hear me out. Watch my videos, read my books. None of this stuff matters. You pick out how many days a week you can train. You focus on 16 to 18 hard sets, and you balance your training. From there, you evolve your training based on needs. Stop trying to chase optimal. Stop trying to slice and dice this into, you're trying to overthink things. I'm going to say this. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. The big picture matters over time. Having a reasonable selection of exercises, a reasonable program, working it for a long period of time. All the minutia, that's debates for the useless fitness YouTuber world, the influencer world. 3 sets are better than 4. 4 sets are better than 3. It's all bullshit, my friend. I'm here to pull you away from that cult of bullshit. It's all bullshit. The bigger picture matters as long as it's reasonable exercise selection. You can do whatever rep range you want for an exercise as long as you have a progression approach. Every exercise is different. Pendleys, I like to do 4 sets. Lat pull downs, I sometimes like to do 5. Dumbbell rows, I like to do 1 or 2. 1 to 2 sets isn't as good as 3 to 4 sets. The demands of every exercise is different. We have to look at the bigger picture, the overall totality of our weekly volume, weekly balance. None of the small details matter. Can we earn the legend or other status per lift in the massive app? I don't know. That's actually a good question. I'll bring it up to my developer because that's actually a brilliant idea. We've talked about gamification. So do you need a lifting belt? No, you don't need any belts. Once you are able to brace yourself, you can play around with a belt. But if you do get a belt, get a 10 millimeter single prong, play around with it a little bit. But you need to have good squat form and deadlift form to begin with. You need to learn how to brace without a belt. And then if you want to play around with a belt, you can. My shoulder clicks. It's painless. Any advice? Ignore it. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to play one on TV, but the little bit of clicking, a little bit of clicking in the knee, a little bit of clicking in the shoulder. If there's no pain, I'm just going to tell you my brute force opinion is just to run with it. You can talk to a doc if you want, etc. I'm going to jump to Harut's question real quick. Why do double prong belts even exist? Okay, so when I advise getting a belt, let me pull this up for you guys for reference, okay? Single prong. I want you to remember the single prong 10 millimeter, okay? Single prong 10 millimeter. Single prong 10 millimeter. Remember that. Single prong 10 millimeter. Now, I have no affiliation with this website. I'm not trying to persuade you to buy from that. Or a stupid little pop-up thing came up. Go away. 10 millimeter single prong. There's your one prong. Thicker belts. You don't need a thicker belt. Okay. 10 mil. This will last you forever. There's no need to have a thicker belt. Someone might disagree, but for the average lifter, you don't need it. Single prong, easy in, easy out. Double prongs, okay? Double prong belts, when you're trying to snug them up, can be a pain to get on and off, especially if you get them pretty tight. Why do they exist? I don't know. Some oddballs like them. I really don't know. I don't know. Like, if you're trying to get a double prong cinched in, it can be a complete pain in the batuski. So there's no need to get one for you guys. My wife hears you in the background, thought you sound like John O'Reilly from Step Brothers. Not sure I can unhear this. I have to take a listen. I'm not sure what that is, but I mean, I've seen Step Brothers, but I don't know what voice it is. So tell your wife No, I was going to make a joke and a comeback, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to get you in trouble with your wife. Tell your wife she's the sweetest thing in the world. She's well out of your league. You're so lucky to have her. And could you please have some wings for dinner? All right, Ian, my overhead press has not increased for 6 months. Well, Ian, I want to see the data, okay? I want to see your workout sets and reps from 6 months ago, and I want to see your workout logs from today. I want to see your weight logs 6 months ago, and I want to see your weight logs today. I want to see how many days you missed. I'm not saying any of this is a case. I'm not saying you're not bulking. I'm not saying you haven't missed. I'm not saying you missed time away from the gym. There's a chance you may have increased reps, but you don't see this as progress, so I'd need to see more information. Just to check. And a quick thank you for the good information. Thank you. I appreciate your support. We got about 10 questions left, so I'm letting you guys know early. If you have any questions, get them in now. Anything wrong with cutting range of motion if it means elimination of pain? No. You want to stay in the gym. You want to be safe and smart. So if you want to do a specific exercise, but you have to cut down the range of motion a little bit, go ahead. For example, on the bench press, I never take it to my chest anymore. I'd leave it a couple inches above. On the internet for a while, people were like, ha, 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 look at idiot, leaving bench press 2 inches off his chest. And then the strongest bencher in the world, Eric Spotto, was doing it, and he called it the Spotto lift. And all of a sudden it's like, that's okay then. You're not idiot, right? Take care of your body. That's the prime directive. If you're going to do something and you need to cut down a little bit on the range of motion, go right ahead. My knees pop when I squat. No, my knees have clicked forever. As long as you're not getting any pain, you're probably okay. Just always use your best judgment. I'm not a doctor. So is getting to elite numbers just hard training and nutrition for a long time? Elite numbers is a lot of luck. Getting to really quality gym legend numbers it's a lot of mental strength. It's a lot of hard work. A lot of people just aren't cut out for it, right? Some of it can be luck. Some of it can be injuries. But yeah, it's being consistent for a long period of time. Every top-level lifter I know that has great mass, great strength, they've been grinding out for a long time, and they absolutely love what they're doing. Would you ever want to try the Westfield run in Australia? That's a little outside of my pay grade. Plus, running in Australia with all those snakes and spiders and things that are trying to kill you. I tried this. We ran in Australia, right? We ran for 2 weeks in Australia. We ran around, the Katoomba, Blue Mountain area. We did a lot of running in Australia, but it had to be a lot more safe. All the flies on your back trying to suck your eyeballs and stuff. It's very challenging. What's your view on doing good mornings on the Smith machine? As long as you can maintain good form, I don't care how you do them, right? As long as you're driving your glutes back to load your hamstrings, absolutely fine. How would you design a strongman style sandbag workout with a duffel bag or Atlas stone? I don't know. You're just talking about general conditioning and picking things up, throwing them over your shoulder, pressing overhead. I would have to think about it. It's not something I could easily pull out of my bag of tricks. I would want something with double handles so I could pick up and clean. I'd want something that allowed enough resistance, but I would have to think about it. I exercise full body Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I train all major and minor muscle groups. How can I incorporate overhead pressing without it interfering? If you train full body, there's going to be some minor interference. What I do is, like on Monday, you could do bench and then like a back exercise. And I'm not saying this is your be all end all structure. You could do squats before this or whatever. But what I typically do is I'll do like a chest exercise and a back exercise and a delt exercise. So you could do like bench, like lat pull downs, and maybe machine shoulder press. So more moderate, not as compoundy lift. On Friday, you could do barbell overhead and then like a back exercise like seated cable row or dumbbell row. And then when you got to chest, you could do like a machine chest press or a barrel press. So it just has to be wisely designed. Just check out my workouts at superlivingtoday.com. You can check out the workout collection, which is like 354 pages of workouts. Or hit me up, man. I'd be glad to critique your workout. Join teammassiveiron.com. Is there an issue with programming my workout myself? As long as I'm not saying this to you, but I'm saying this in general. I see many people program their workouts and it looks like a steaming pile of dinosaur crap. There's no problem if there isn't a problem, okay? You have to understand the rules of training. I have tried to provide those for free on my content on Instagram and here. As long as you understand the rules of training, have somebody like myself correct it or look at it. I get very fatigued after my first working set, and then it makes the rest of you have no work capacity. I'm saying this respectfully. You can't fix it other than keep going. You have no capacity to do work. And that's not a criticism. That's the state you're in. You have to continue to do things. First off, I would drop exercises to 2 sets per exercise. So you're not doing as much volume until you bring up work capacity. You have to make sure you're nailing your sleep and eating. But at some point, I'm going to be honest, if you can only do 1 set and you're spent, you are way out of shape, my friend. I'm saying that because I care. It's not a criticism. Like, you are way, way, way behind. You're going to have to put in a year just Sitfu, sucking it the bleep up, because your work capacity sucks, and that's not a criticism. I want the best for you. There's no magic. The way for you isn't to try to go around the fire. You need fire. You need to forge your body in the fire safely. You need to keep going in each day and challenge yourself. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one more rep. Okay. Let's say you're fatigued after that first set. Fair. Okay. I told a story earlier when I went in to bench my first time. I failed on the 4th rep with 95 on the bench. Okay. Let's say you go in and you do bench press 95 by 4 and you feel like a sack of crap. The next time you go in, you try to do 1 step further. That's the mentality, okay? You don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. Losing my voice. You don't have to worry about what anybody else is doing. You don't even care that you're limited. I'm going to go in and do 1 step more next time. 1 more rep, 1 more set. 1 more rep, 1 more set. That's the plan, because this is a long-term process, and that's where your mindset has to be. So I hope that helps. Does strength matter in a fight? It sure can, my friend. It sure can. I mean, if you're fighting a professional fighter, it's not going to matter as much. A fighter that's very technical. But if you want to go fight a power lifter that's elite level strength with no training, and you're just Joe Blow, he's going to knock a hole in your soul. He's going to snap your crap up. These guys that are extremely strong, like, that's next level. And if I'm not saying they're fighting Mike Tyson, I'm not saying they're fighting an elite level Brazilian jiu-jitsu. If you take 2 guys at equal level, that guy with strength is going to have a huge advantage. That guy with a lot more strength is going to have a huge advantage. If you take a guy like myself that's been working out 39 years, that has strength from head to toe and everything, and you take and some 50-year-old dude walks in here, hasn't trained his whole life, and has no gym strength, I'm not saying this to brag. I would knock a hole in his soul, right? I wouldn't even want to punch the guy. I would not want to punch the guy, because it'd be like that Olympic fight, that dude fighting that woman. It's not even fair, right? If you take a top-level power lifter, one of these guys that, squats 700 and benches 500 and deadlifts 800. And you got some 40-year-old guy off the street at the beer line at the grocery store that's never lifted in his life. He would destroy him, right? If you take two equal level wrestlers or two technical wise, strength is always going to provide an advantage. If you take two equal levels of talent in baseball, but one gets more strength, Mark McGwire, right? How he got the strength doesn't matter. Strength always matters when there's an equal level of technical ability in almost all cases. Mike, absolutely not. Don't worry about this. This is like old school paranoia. This is the worst of the worst. Information that puts you guys in bondage. Don't worry about this stuff. You go in, you focus on training hard on all your sets. You don't worry about the clock, okay? You worry about training hard. You worry about recovery and eating. Can you do chest day after? Yes, you can. You can do chest day after shoulders. If it's not working for you, then you probably need to change your split. Do I think it's the best way to train? No. I don't think it's the best way to train because there's 100 times better to train than doing chest day after shoulders. You don't really want to do a push day after a push day. You could, but there's simply 100 better ways to train. 100 better ways to train. All right, guys, that's it. Head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. You want coaching, you want results, you want transformation, you're tired of grinding it out, go over to superlivingtoday.com, sign up for coaching. It's only $89.40 after the first month. I can also design you a custom workout. You're welcome and thank you. I appreciate you tuning in. I have custom workouts on my website, superlivingtoday.com. Please head over there. They're super reasonable. I also have apparel. You want some swag? I only make like $5. I'm not trying to be an apparel company. I got my books, Massive Omnibus. You can head over to the main page, start an Omnibus. Check out the PDFs, the books, all that kind of good stuff. I'm a small content producer. I live off your support, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I love each and every one of you guys, and I'll tell you, sometimes I know I'm hard, but I'm hard because I care. I'm hard on you guys because I care, and I'm so frustrated with this industry that continues to shovel bullshit your way. We are all about freedom. We're all about opening doors and massive iron. Get out there, kick ass, and let's fucking rip this shit up. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.